What's going on, everybody? We are now live. It is Thursday, July 25th, 2024, and this is your AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts review for the July 24th episode of AEW Dynamite, which I just mentioned moments ago or seconds ago. It was Blood and Guts. But more importantly, this is another live edition of S.A.D, something about Dynamite, here on the Around the Point Network YouTube channel. If you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below. Give this video a big old thumbs up. Share with all your friends out there, wherever it is that you share content and all that stuff on social media. If you like to follow the Around the Point Network over on X, it's at AT Point Network. Follow us there. And if you have not yet, go subscribe to the secondary channel. It's at AT Point. It's at ATP Clips, where we will post clips from all the stuff that we have said, all the clips, all the funny shit that we've said here on the channel, if you will. But what's going on? I'm Steve, and I'm doing this solo today. I'm doing this dolo, if you will. But I hope all of you are having a good day. I hope you all looking forward to your weekends. But let's get into this, all right? AEW Dynamite last night, I will be honest, I enjoyed it for the most part. I think also factor in that it was a Blood and Guts match, right? That went almost an hour. It's crazy, right, to think. Last week, they gave you MJF and Will Ospreay for the International Championship, which it was called back then. Last week it was called the International title, and that went almost an hour, right? Like 59 minutes. But if you want to average it out or round it up, whatever it may be, it's an hour match. And now here you have, last night you had the Blood and Guts match that went about 40 something minutes or so, almost an hour. But it's crazy to think that we're getting this from a wrestling company. So that's cool. And then you had the other stuff that happened. So it felt like a breeze to sit through. But nevertheless, I thought the show last night was a pretty kick-ass show. And yes, you know, as someone who was supposed to get a Blood and Guts at Prudential Center back in 2020, darn you, COVID, I do hope, though, that we eventually end up getting one. Look, I shouldn't complain because Prudential Center gets a pay-per-view, right? We're getting Full Gear in November, which is cool. But I would love to get a fucking Blood and Guts in my arena, but that's no here or there, right? But what's going on? What's going on, Dolores? Hope all is well with you. Hey, Steve, how you doing, Dolores? Let's get into this. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Did you enjoy the show or not? Let me know. What did you like? What did you not like? And all that fun stuff. Per Cage Match, they're giving this show an 8.28 out of 10. Which is fair. The show is live from the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. About 5,000 people were in the building, which was not bad. It looked like jam-packed, so that was good to see as well. So let's get into this. But before we get into it, I got to talk about this real quick. I'm sure you all seen on Twitter. I'm sure you all seen this by now. This picture is circulating Twitter, and I think it's gone now because I guess he was told to delete it for what it was. But it's a picture of Drew McIntyre taking a picture with Jack Perry, the scapegoat. Or after last night, I want to call him Sicko Jesus, if you will. But that picture is so hilarious. It is so fucking hilarious how that literally hit Twitter just moments ago. I think Drew posted a tweet out. Yeah, it's a real picture. Go cry a river, something like that. But now it's deleted. So there's that. It's kind of weird, but you got to give Drew McIntyre his props here, yo. For real. He is a true fucking menace. But let's get into the show. Let's get into the stuff, all right? So we knew it was Blood and Guts. And, I'll start with Blood and Guts right away. I'll start with Blood and Guts. I thought it was going into it, I'll be honest, I really wasn't big on this whole Team Elite versus Team AEW story. It just hasn't really felt, for me at least, impactful, right? It hasn't felt like, oh my God, this is a very big, important thing that I have to watch every single week. But mind you, nevertheless, I thought last night they killed it. They hit a home run with that match last night, the Blood and Guts. I thought everyone here had moments to shine. Hell, even Okada, bro. Kazuchika Okada, bro. I will say it was probably the MVP of the match. He left that match with just one scar on his middle finger that got stapled. Like, bro, well, everyone was bleeding and just going through thumbtacks and going through tables and all this other stuff. Oh, my man Okada, bro, not one cut on the face, just on the finger, bro. And I know he posted this. I know he posted a picture on his Instagram stories, like a little dot. Come on, guy, for real, awesome, bro. Good for him. But I thought again, this blood and guts match was just fucking awesome. I know there's people out there who were upset with the one thing that happened, and I gotta talk about it. It's the chair shot from Mark Briscoe to Jack Perry. Now, if you guys remember, Jack Perry was literally handcuffed to the fence. So was Swerve, right? Early on in the match. But Hangman, my bad. Jack Perry was handcuffed. And there was a spot where Mark Briscoe grabbed the steel chair and hit him. Like he hit him right in the head with the steel chair. Now, I'll be honest with you. I did not need to see that. I'm not saying that, oh my God, that I hated it. No. Again, I didn't need to see it, considering what we know with, concussions and all that stuff. And I am fully aware, because I'm pretty sure somebody will say, oh, but you should know that was a gimmick chair. I know it was reported that the chair was gimmicked up. It was thinned out. So there really wasn't that much of an impact, if you will. But still, I did not need to see that. Did not need to see it. There's some of you out there who probably thought it was fine. It was okay. And if you're one of these people, that's fine. If you fall with that point of view, if that's what you think, that's good for you, But for me, like I said, I did not need to see it, But Corey Graves, as soon as the show went off the air, did a tweet and delete. He posted this tweet on Twitter that read the following in quote. This was literally at 11:05, an hour after Blood and Guts. Literally an hour after Blood and Guts or so. That's what he tweeted. This is not meant to sound judgmental or incite us versus them or question anybody's passion or talent or intentions. This is just coming from a guy whose career ended from a few too many accidental headshots. The art of this business is protecting ourselves and each other. Trust me, the gaps in memory are not worth it. I promise. Now, that's what he tweeted. And later on, let me just remove this real quick. It was deleted. He removed his post. I'll be honest with you. Was he wrong for saying that? No, he was not wrong. But I knew what he was talking. I think all of us knew what he was talking about when he posted this tweet out regarding the headshot from the steel chair from Mark Briscoe to Jack Perry. And he removed the tweet. I think it's, the tribalism, a lot of the diehard AEW fans being very offended by him tweeting that. Again, he's not in the wrong. Yeah, I got to remember, Corey Graves had his career ended short because of concussions. Now, mind you, we're all aware that he can still go. He was cleared to wrestle, but he chose to just be a commentator now, or an announcer, whatever you want to call it, right? And that's fine too. But from people who were upset by him saying that, I think is a little ridiculous, people. Come on. Again, I did not need to see that spot on the match. The match was good for what it was. But again, that's just my opinion. Take it for what it is. But these guys, again, bro, went all over the place with this match. It started off with Jack Perry and Darby Allin because the team elite had the advantage in this, right? They won the coin toss, if you will. And then it followed on, right? Everyone got their moments to shine, right? They brought out 2 briefcases, right, that had stuff in him, obviously. We found out later on what were inside the briefcases. Everyone was just getting their moments to shine here, right? There was table spots, there were everything you can imagine, right? There was a moment in the match where obviously Hangman Page had to come out, and he didn't come out to be the last person in for Team AEW. My bad, for Team Elite. Keep getting that confused. And out comes Swerve for Team AEW, the AEW World Champion. As Swerve was coming out, mind you, Hangman didn't come out for his entrance, but he attacked Swerve from behind, and he decided to handcuff him. So he was handcuffed. Swerve was handcuffed on the outside, and Hangman was just beating up on Swerve Strickland, hitting him with the belt, saying that, oh, you ruined everything. I'm going to burn your world down and stuff like that. And, you know, again, just the visual was crazy as it was. I believe it was Matt Jackson who told Hangman, hey, listen, you better get in the ring. We had a deal. We suspended you before. We can fire you now. So obviously Heyman listened, and then they locked the cage door. So the War Games officially began. Or I'm sorry, the Blood and Guts match, the match beyond, right? Somewhere in this whole thing as well, Jeff Jarrett came out to try to, like, you know, restore order here, right? And then out came Brandon Cutler, to which he got hit with the guitar shot. They try to, like, uncuff Swerve, and out came Nana with pliers and shit, and it was just crazy. There was a moment in this match, obviously, where Swerve was stapled on by everybody from the Elite, and obviously Swerve was laughing, just, you know, eating the pain. And eventually he got his revenge. He started stapling everybody from Team Elite, even the Okada thing with the middle finger. And then it was down to just Hangman and Swerve on opposite rings, right? And they go at it. Now, I know a lot of people were kind of confused because there's people that were saying, oh, you know, they're building this for All In, but yet at All In is Bryan versus Swerve. I think, honestly, we're going to probably get Swerve versus Hangman at All Out. Now, I've also heard people saying, what if at Full Gear next year? You got to remember, Full Gear last November, they had that Texas death match, which was crazy as it was. Run it back. You can do that too, but I think, honestly, the way this is going, you do it at All Out. That's just me, of course, right? And also for Hangman, it's you know, kind of revenge. You remember the first All Out, Hangman lost to Jericho for the world title. So let's see if he can redeem winning the world title at All Out, you know? But that's just my opinion, of course. But the ending of this, again, there was also a table spot where Anthony Bowens went through a table, right? Everyone just looked fucking crazy, right? Eventually, there's a moment here too where Darby Allin, like, Jack Perry was laying on a table, and Jack Perry literally climbed from the inside the cage, and he just climbed the top of the cage, right? That had a roof on it, right? And he decided to do a coffin drop. And the visual looks sick. The visual looks sick as it was. Sick visual, right? And just again, but honestly, I know everyone talk about, you know, Darby Allin climbing Mount Everest. Nah, bro, we gotta see Darby Allin in American Ninja Warrior. That's what I want to see Darby Allin after last night. And then after this, right, they handcuffed, like I mentioned before, they handcuffed Jack Perry. And then you have Darby wanting Jack Perry to quit, but he wasn't doing it. He was taking abuse and beatings, right? So then Darby decided to literally bathe him in gasoline oil. Just bathe him in gasoline, right? And lighter fluid, if you will, right? Bathe him, right? And he was going to light him up. Mind you, you also had the Bucks also handcuffed as well. And Matt Jackson was telling Darby, please just stop this, right? Stop this. You want your match at All In at Wembley? You want your match? You got it. It will be, obviously, after all this, it will be Darby Allin versus Jack Perry for the TNT title at All in Wembley Stadium. So that's official. I'll post a graphic, but AEW hasn't posted a graphic yet. So there's that. We also got another match announced for All In, also, which I'll get into I'll get into just a sec as well. But there's also a moment again where eventually Matt Jackson quit because he did not want to see Darby Allin lit up on fire. They didn't want to see it happen. To be fair, too, when you think about it also, right? The Elite won. They won the Anarchy in the Arena match at Double or Nothing. So it's only fitting that, yeah, you know what? That Team AEW gets the win here, right? It's only fair, right? Because you don't want to have them go 0-2. I'm just saying, right? But at the same time, I say to myself, you know, as good as it was a good match, right? I love the match for what it was, right? Went into it with a little bit of expectation because, again, I wasn't really feeling this whole takeover from the Bucks, right? Because to me, it's like, all right, it started with them attacking Tony Khan. Where's Tony Khan now, right? You would think like there'll be some like conclusion or something, right? Where Tony Khan, and I know Tony said he doesn't want to get involved, right? But yeah, here he was. He got fucking attacked by the Bucks a few weeks back, right? So there's that too, you know? And I'm wondering, will we ever get Tony Khan involved in some way, shape, or form, right? That's my question. We don't know, right? But obviously, yeah, Team AEW did get the win. And again, I thought the match was good. I enjoyed it. You know, I enjoyed the episode overall. Maybe one thing I didn't like, but that's no here or there, okay? MJF taking a page from New Japan Ospreay. Yeah, he is. We'll get into that too. Just a little bit, Chief. We'll get into that. But let's get into the show. I just wanted to get the blood and guts out of the way because, again, you know, it was a good fucking match, bro. Fucking awesome. If you have not watched it, go back and watch it. You'll love it for what it is. The show opened up with Will Ospreay. I guess he was at the Talon Hotel where all the Talons are at and shit, trying to make it to the arena. But he finds out that his car has a flat tire, was slashed. Looked like by MJF. And Alex Marvez trying to interview him. And to the point where, like, Will Ospreay tells Marvez, "You drove here, right?" "Yeah." "Give me your keys. Let me drive to the arena." So the visual, right? The visual of Will Ospreay getting into Alex Marvez's rental car to drive away. Now, mind you, Marvez still has the microphone in his hand. And Marvez decides to ask him, "Hey, you know, have you ever drove in America before?" To which Ospreay went on to say, basically, "Nope." And just the visual of Alex Marvez asking that question and getting that answer. That risky. Has to be. Even though, to my understanding, what's going on, Everything Pro Wrestling, hope all is well with you, brother. To my understanding, you can drive in the States if you have a foreign license, just for not that much of a long time of your stay, but you can. But I just thought it was funny. So I'm like, wait a minute. So he doesn't live here in the States, right? But he's driving a car in the state. I don't think he really did. I just think he just drove just that little length, and then he got out of the car, and then boom. But the show did open up with MJF, the new international champion. And he talks about his win, right? He's talking about what went down. And he's brought along by a parade of cheerleaders, obviously, right? And he's cutting this promo about beating Will Ospreay. He then throws the international title in a garbage can. Because he talks about how the title was defended by a lot of good international workers, right? But when he looks at that belt, it's nothing but garbage. And he brings out, just so happened that there was something in the ring, like, you know, it's going to be a new belt, right? And he presents the MJF American Championship. I'm not going to lie, it's a nice looking belt. And for MJF, you know, you want to get heat, right? yeah, he healed it up for Nashville, right? It was a poor town, that stuff, and he talked about the most magical place in America being Long Island, New York, but also factor in, right? Factor in for him, America, that's the country that matters. Also factoring in, he's going to be going next week to Arena Mexico for CMLL in wrestling in Mexico. Imagine him with that belt in Mexico. Oh, bro, you're going to get massive heat in Mexico with that belt, right? And he's, celebrating, confetti falls, the big ass US flag showed up, but instead of the stars, it's the heads of MJF. And then out comes Will Ospreay through the crowd. Ospreay comes out and he's basically saying, you know what? The rematch is happening. It's going to be in his home field of Wembley Stadium. It's happening. The rematch, Will Ospreay, MJF at Wembley Stadium at All In for the international or American Championship, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Good. They're going to run it back. They had an amazing match last week. I think here they're going to kill it. For a lot of people, that should have been the first match, which I can agree with. But nevertheless, I do feel like these two guys are going to go out there. They're going to tear the house down. No doubt about it. Again, there's no graphic because AEW's graphic department decided to not upload a graphic. What the fuck? But nevertheless, makes you wonder too, like what's happening with Daniel Garcia, right? Because he's also involved in this, right? I would say All Out. You do the winner versus Daniel Garcia. Likely will be MJF. In my opinion, but we shall see, right? But again, good way to kick off the show. A little promo, a little segment, if you will. We got the first match, though. Jericho versus Minoru Suzuki for the FTW title. I'll be honest, the only good thing about the match was them playing Kaza Ninare. Just a chop fest. To a point where Jericho's chest was bleeding, was just bleeding from all the chop that he got from Suzuki. From all the chop that he got from Minoru Suzuki. Eventually, Jericho found a way to win. Not that again, I just wasn't feeling this match. I love Suzuki, legend, all the fuck you want. It just wasn't for me. I don't know about a lot of you guys watching right now, but that match last night, not for me. Just saying. After this, there was like an attack, right? And then out comes Katsuyori Shibata to make the save. So there's that. Hook wasn't there, nor Samoa Joe, because Samoa Joe's out there filming the next season of Twisted Metal. So after this, I did mention earlier the whole coin flip and Daniels was on the floor. So there's that too, right? We got Renee Paquette interviewing Willow Nightingale. Because again, Willow Nightingale is the new CMLL Women's Champion. And who happens to interrupt her? Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway. They attack her, and all they want is a world title, a women's title eliminator match. That's what they want. So likely it'll happen. I know they're doing Battle of the Belts. I think this Saturday they're doing Battle of the Belts. I could be wrong on that. Likely it'll happen there because why not? But yeah, it's AEW once again showcasing another company's title. So you might as well make it work for what it is, right? So that should be fine. From there, we got footage from Bryan Danielson having a pep talk backstage with Renee Paquette. And then Jeff Jarrett just happens to, interrupt. And he talks about how, he believes in Bryan. He's not sure because there's talks that Bryan has one foot out the door, but he believes that Bryan, just as well as others, will walk out of Wembley the new AEW World Champion, basically. A little pep talk, motivational talk, if you will, from one Hall of Famer to a future Hall of Famer. So that was cool to see. From there, we did get Britt Baker versus Hikaru Shida. I thought the match was okay. I will say this, though, it was cool to see 2 women's matches on this show. Holy shit. But being that, again, Hikaru Shida and Britt Baker, they have history. You got to remember a couple of years ago, Hikaru Shida did break Britt Baker's nose. If you guys remember that, I think that was during the pandemic. when they were doing the shows at somewhere. I think was it at the Nightmare Factory, I think it was, or a QT's gym. I think that's where they were taping Dynamite at one point during the pandemic in Atlanta. I think that's where it happened. But nevertheless, I thought the match was solid, right? They got like 10 minutes out there. And of course, being that Britt Baker is challenging for the TBS or trying to get a shot at the TBS title. Let me correct myself here. It made sense that she won. For someone who has been gone for so long, she looked good out there. I will say that. After this match, though, that's where things really started to spice up a bit. Mercedes Moné shows up and talks about how, she knows that Britt wants this match, and she's there to tell her, no, it's not happening. And then I love how the camera just panned out, right, to Britt Baker, but you hear like this noise from the crowd. And who happens to run in and attack Britt Baker from behind? None other than former NWA Women's Champion Camille. Camille finally, after being signed with the company for so long, she finally makes her AEW debut. And puts Britt Baker in a torture rack and then drops her. But basically, she is the new muscle of Mercedes Moné. Shout out to Solomonster, who gave this idea a while ago. I believe this was during Double or Nothing, the idea of debuting Camille, but it never happened. But here it is. People are giving the analogy of Shawn Michaels and Diesel. I get it, if you will. So that's fine, even though, Mercedes was more of an Eddie Guerrero girl growing up, but still, it is what it is. I'm just happy to see Camille finally show up on my TV. I know a while back she was offered a deal for NXT, but she chose AEW. So I look forward to seeing where things go with this, right? I look forward to seeing what happens. So after this, we got a backstage segment where Christian Cage announced that Nick Wayne would compete in the Royal Rampage on Friday to determine who will receive the world title opportunity at Grand Slam. Now, mind you, you got to keep this visual, right? Picture this, right? For those of you who didn't watch it, but if you did, you know what I'm talking about. Christian Cage and the Patriarchy won on last Saturday on Collision to become the new Trios champion. You see Christian Cage with all three titles, as if he's the only person with the three who is the Trios champion. But you get what I'm saying, right? But yeah, Nick Wayne is going to be in the match on Friday in the Royal Rampage match, and he intended to win, basically, right? And then Wayne, he noted that Kip Sabian was standing there, right? And he wondered why he was always around. And Wayne revealed that he had heard that Sabian was also a member of the Royal Rampage match, and he intended to eliminate him. And then Wayne informed that he doesn't care about Sabian's father being dead. Be a man and suck it up. Now, I'm not sure. Chat, let me know. Did Kip Sabian's father pass away? Did he pass away? If he did, my condolences. But it just felt so random for him to say that. But that's just me, of course. Okay. After this, we had Pac versus Boulder. Right. This was a quick enhancement match. This match went about almost a minute and 48 seconds, where Pac ended up getting the win, as you expect, right? So there was that. Team AEW cut a promo ahead of the main event where Swerve proclaimed himself as the leader, which fired up Darby Allin, who said it was not about Strickland or any of them, but it's about the heart of the company, that being AEW. Because again, they're Team AEW. So from thereafter, we got Mariah May versus Caitlin Alexis, an enhancement talent from the local area, I guess in Tennessee. This match also went by fast and made sense too, because again, Mariah May is challenging for the women's title at All In. And after this, right, timeless Tony Storm, who with disguise, I guess, as a camera person, whatever it was, shows up and she brawls with Mariah May. They're going at it. And you hear timeless Tony Storm saying that she's ready to die at All In. Perfect. I think these two girls are going to go out there and they're going to fucking tear the house down. No doubt about it, right? No doubt about it. I did mention this earlier. The Blood and Guts. They even played a vignette. They had, I guess, Dean Malenko do the narration for this, which I thought was which I thought was pretty badass too. All right. And then after this, I already mentioned this already, but the main event, right? Again, Team AEW versus Team Elite. I thought, again, as far as a match goes, kick ass. I know, again, people were upset with the whole notion of Mark Briscoe hitting Jack Perry with the steel chair. I understand that. But again, if you were someone out there who thought it was good for the match, cool. I understand it was gimmicked, just not for me. Just saying, all right? But that was Dynamite as a whole. I already mentioned earlier, early in this review, that Team AEW did pick up the W. And as a result, Darby Allin will get his match with Jack Perry at All In Wembley Stadium. So there was that. That's going to be it for me. All right. Overall, I thought Dynamite was a kick-ass show. This is going to be a shorter show than normal because I am by myself. Normally, I would do the show with Big Mike or Walter or Chase, but being that today, they all had stuff going on, I decided to come on here and do a show for what it is. Thank you all for watching. I know tomorrow. Wait a minute. We got a comment here. Let's see here. Palu writes here. A lot of fake outrage about a chair. Okay, I'm sorry. A lot of fake outrage about that chair spot, if you ask me. I don't think there's a lot of fake outrage. I think it's the fact that, again, we live in this day and age where we know about concussions and all that stuff. And if you watched the Dark Side of the Ring episode of Chris Benoit and what his situation was because of concussions and headshots and all that stuff, people don't want to go through that anymore. I'm not saying that Jack Perry is the next, CB. We're not saying that, but I think it's the thing now. It's like a code. Like you don't hit someone you don't hit someone with a chair like that, especially in the head. But again, I am aware that it was gimmicked. I understand that because again, it had to be gimmicked, right? I want to believe that the chair that Sean Spears hit Cody with many years ago was also gimmicked, but that's no here or there. Again, I said this earlier. I think Corey Graves was not wrong with what he said. I just think that a lot of the diehard is the tribalism of people who are who went off for no reason whatsoever. Again, and considering that Corey Graves, his career was ended short because of concussion, it was just him giving his opinion, him looking out. It's like when Nigel, many years ago, I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but many years ago, Nigel McGuinness, when he was doing his, retirement tour, his big thing was he didn't want nobody on the show to bleed. Because a lot of the indie shows back then, I don't know about now, but back then, like when you watch AEW, WWE, in between matches, they will change the canvas out. On the indies, they don't do that. So Nigel, being that he had hepatitis and all that stuff, right? He wanted there to be no blood, no one bleeding. And again, that at one point was like, what? But still, I get where Corey Graves is coming from, though. I get it. And I agree with I get it, and I agree with what Corey Graves tweeted. But you know how the tribalists are. Yeah, bro. It's the tribalism goes both ways, brother. It goes both ways, believe it or not. But at the end of the day, man, I thought Blood and Guts kicked ass. I thought the show kicked ass, right? And again, we'll see what happens. Let's see where they go with continuing, I guess, everything that's going down. I am aware, and I got to mention this now because, I just have to, right? And, it wouldn't be right if I don't mention this, but the rating also came out as well. And, it wouldn't be right. It would not be right if I don't mention the rating here on Something About Dynamite. And I'll be honest, I was expecting a higher number. I'm not saying this number wasn't bad or anything, but they did 786,000. Bring out Barry the Buzzard, guys, the official mascot of ATP. As Barry the Buzzard would say, no Millie. But it's fine. I thought the show kicked ass. All right. But that's going to be it for me. Again, being that I'm doing this solo today, it's going to be a short show. We'll be back maybe tomorrow. There might be a watch along. I'll keep you guys posted on Twitter. But thank you all for watching. Again, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, be notified when we go live every single time. If you have not yet checked out, we did do a Raw rundown on Tuesday, myself and Big Mike. We talked about Dominic Mysterio making his choice, telling Liv Morgan that he hates her. So we think. Also, speaking of which, on Monday, we did do an episode of Steve's Kitchen. We talked about everything that went down at TNA Slammiversary and why TNA made the right choice by not having Joe Hendry win the TNA World title last Saturday night, and much more stuff as well. All right. Again, guys, follow the Around the Point Network on X at AT Point Network. Follow me on X at Heel Steven. And again, we'll keep it posted. I know tomorrow's Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor. We might do a Friday Night Velocity. We'll keep you posted once again. But that's going to be it for me, guys. For myself and for the gang, this has been Something About Dynamite. S.A.D here on the Around the Point Network. Peace out, everybody.
No, Millie!